James Kaufman, World News Report today. Iran launches smart control live military drill in the Strait of Hormuz. In an almost unbelievable escalation, Iran's elite Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the irgc, kicked off naval and air force drills Monday in the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz, according to state media. The exercise, dubbed, quote, Smart Control of Hormuz Strait, is being carried out by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, naval forces, and air forces under the direct supervision of the Guard's top command, state television reported. Iran's semi-official Tasnim news agency described the drills as testing combat readiness against possible security and military threats. Energy markets are watching this very closely. Under the supervision of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps Commander-in-Chief Major General Mohammad Pakpour, a state media press release described the exercise further as, quote, a rapid, decisive, and comprehensive response to maritime security threats form the core focus of the intelligence and operational components of the units deployed during this exercise. Currently, nuclear talks between the U.S. and Iran have resumed after collapsing when Israel launched strikes on Iran in June 2025, igniting a 12-day conflict that included U.S. attacks on 3 Iranian nuclear facilities, with another round of negotiations scheduled for Tuesday, tomorrow in Geneva, with Oman serving as the mediator. The timing of these exercises is no coincidence, given that late last week President Trump announced he was dispatching a second aircraft carrier strike group to the Middle East while continuing to warn that military action against Iran remains on the table. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has been conducting sporadic and in some cases unannounced drills in regional waters in order to demonstrate to Washington the Islamic Republic's military readiness. 2 weeks ago, when some of the first drills kicked off, U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, warned the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps that it better be very careful in the vicinity of all U.S. naval assets. Quote, we will not tolerate unsafe Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps actions, including overflight of U.S. military vessels engaged in flight operations, low altitude or armed overflight of U.S. military assets when intentions are unclear, high-speed boat approaches on a collision course with U.S. military vessels or weapons trained at U.S. forces, CENTCOM said at the time. U.S. forces have acknowledged Iran's right to operate professionally in the international airspace and waters, it added, and noted that any unsafe or unprofessional behavior near U.S. forces, regional partners, or commercial vessels increases risk of collision, escalation, and destabilization, the statement warned again. None of Iran's drills or threat of counterstrike have deterred the ongoing Pentagon buildup in the Middle East with an eye on Iran. One thing the White House should be able to perceive, however, is that any military action against Tehran is going to clearly be much more complex and harder than some one-off mission like we had in Venezuela. God bless, folks. They are poking the bear, if we're the bear, operating all around our strike groups. And I will show you a picture of what that looks like. I'll try to get you a picture of exactly where our different vessels and strike groups are located. But this is the Strait of Hormuz, and it's a hotbed, obviously, for Iranian misconduct. And we have the Gulf of Oman right after that, with Oman and Yemen just south of Iran. A bad situation for the U.S. I did pull up my ship tracker, and it's just too busy to even see what's going on around the Straits of Hormuz. And you have to double click each individual one. And I'm not even familiar with the it's a fishing vessel there. I'm not even familiar with the color codes, so I'm not going to be much help whatsoever. What we will do is see if CENTCOM tells us where everything is currently. All right, I was able to find this map that is about 5 days old, and everything in blue or U.S. ships, and there are a lot of them. Here's our U.S. Dwight Eisenhower Strike Group right here, as you can see, and other, large agglomerations of U.S. ships included up in here, Straits of Hormuz here. We've got nuclear submarines, USS Florida. We've got, just about everything you can imagine over here. These are all destroyers here. And we have U.S. Coast Guard cutters, quite a few of them in this area. 2, 4, 6 of them. Wow. Hope someone's watching the homeland. So we also have a ton of, combined maritime force members, i.e. NATO force members. Now, everything in red is Iran or China. So it looks like these are Iranian boats over here. And look, they're flagging our strike group right here. Here they are. These are Iranian boats flagging our strike group right here. These look like they're going to be Chinese ships here. And come on. This one, I'm not quite sure here. But gosh, they've got ships over here following our strike group. I would have taken them out long ago. These look again like Chinese ships here, traveling together. And here the MV Saviz. I don't know if it's going to be. Oh, it's Iranian forces. So it's an Iranian ship as well. So our strike forces here, flanked by 2 Iranian ships. We have a lot of ships up in here around the Straits of Hormuz on both sides. We'll see what happens, but the time is near, folks. I don't think talks are going to do it. I think that it's going to take action. And I think that this time we're going to have to take out the leadership and the entire guard. And I guess put in a puppet government and steal their oil, as we always do. Please share and subscribe. Always remember, anything's possible. Bizarro world.